Hello, and welcome to the Writer's Workshop with your hosts, Flutter Priest and Milk.
Uh,
This week we're going to do a dramatic reading, review, and critique of Scootaloo, Professional Orphan by Obselescence. Obselescence is a moderator on FemFiction, and overall, generally pretty good guy. And also he gives critiques out to other writers, so I figure why not, in turn, critique him for once, see how it goes. This is a E for everyone story, comedy, random, and of course it's Scootaloo, so Milk's gonna love it.
damn right.
So we've got our description here. Scootaloo's an orphan. Let's get that fact out of the way. She lives in a cardboard box, and it's rad as heck. She also does other orphan stuff. I don't know. That's it. That's the thing. That's the description. Norse Pony gets a credit on this for his editing work. So this story has been edited. So I expect it to be perfect, right? That's how that works.
Damn right. It has to be perfect because shit. It's best pony. Best pony needs to be shown in the perfect light.
Yes. All right. So this is the chapter. I got 98 problems and parents ain't too. In the corner of the alley by the bridge on the river through the humble town of Ponyville, there sat a simple cardboard box. To the casual observer, it appeared nothing more than an ordinary cardboard box. But to one little pony, unnoticed by the world at large, it was home. The finest corrugated cardboard that had been taped to its edges for insulation from the dreaded elements. Windows, drawn in new marker, adorned its simple brown sides. At the step of the front door, also drawn in, was a simple cardboard mat, reading, "Fragile, handle with care. They say that home is where the heart is." And it was clear enough here that this particular home had received all the love a malnourished nerfin heart could pour into it without getting the cardboard all soggy. Then Scootaloo came by and jacked it. Okay. Alright. Oi! Pipsqueak shouted from a nearby dumpster. "You lot keep your thieving mitts off my property!" Fine, whatever. Scootaloo preferred to keep her thieving mitts on when she was handling hot goods, but rules were rules. They were threadbare and moth-eaten anyway. She slid them off and loaded the box on her scooter. "Happy?" "No, I ain't happy. That's me house you liftin', see?" "Snort," said Scootaloo, literally saying the word snort out loud. "I don't see your name on it." "It's bloomin' right there." Pipsqueak pointed to his name, drawn crudely in marker on the side. "Look." "Well," Scootaloo flipped it over, "I don't see your name on it." Then she jetted with the goods, because honestly, what the heck, what was he going to do about it? Tell her mom? The streets of Ponyville were the modern orphan's jungle and libertarian free-for-all. The sidewalks were littered with families. The roadside carts were littered with valuable theftables, and the streets themselves were surprisingly free of litter overall. Oh my god. This is great. It was practically a maze, but Scootaloo had grown up in this labyrinth, and by the tender age of probably 12, she could navigate it with ease. Over ramps and under tunnels, her wings propelled her scooter at a pace moderately faster than walking speed. Pipsqueak's house was the heist of a lifetime. She wasn't going to waste it by botching the getaway. Thankfully, the Fuzz had more important thing to worry about than the homeless, and she arrived safely at her own damp alleyway on Sunshine Lane. Her own cardboard abode was a fridge shipment box from Fed Equus. It wasn't as upscale as Pip's, but that was pretty much why she had stolen it from him in the first place. It was a pony-eat-pony world out there, and while she wasn't a cannibal herself, she had good odds that Pipsqueak would be a Pip snack before the week was out. The kid was just too nice to survive out on the streets of a quiet town like Ponyville. Like, he just let her just take the thing in broad daylight. He just had to leave his house to someone, and she was reasonably sure he would have wanted it to be her. Home sweet home. She walked in and turned on the lights, or pretended to, and got busy with the duct tape. 2 minutes cutting a hole in the original box and 2 more taping Pip's house in, and voila. brand new living room. She had just finished sealing the edges up with way more duct tape than necessary when someone knocked on her roof. "Yellow!" Scootaloo poked her head out from the open edge of the box. "What's the good word, miss?" A mare, a recent hire for Ponyville's social worker service, looked on the verge of tears. "You poor girl," she said, drying her tears on her handkerchief. "Do you actually live in conditions as these?" Yeah." Scootaloo cocked her head. She'd heard this spiel before. "Listen, lady, I know I haven't gotten around to putting up a no solicitor sign yet, but I'm not interested in buying anything. I don't even eat full scale cookies." That only seemed to make her even sadder, considering all the tears she was crying. Literally crying. Actual tear-nados. It was honestly kind of embarrassing for everyone involved. "I'm so sorry to have to tell you this, Scootaloo, but your application for adoption has been rejected. The system is overbooked, and we simply cannot accept another young foal at this month. There are just too many fillies and colts in this town who don't have visible parents." She tearfully handed Scootaloo a rolled-up piece of paper. "I beg you not to let this discourage you. We will surely be able to find some pony to adopt you next month." Okay. Scootaloo accepted her rejected application with relatively fewer tears. Or, none at all. Crying just wasn't just bad for the cardboard. It was also a waste of good water. She had to learn to suppress her tears internally and never let her true emotions escape from their psychological vault. "Thanks for the delivery, I guess." She ducked inside and fished an arcade token out of the basement gutter. "Here's your tip and everything. Keep the change." Then she shut the flaps on her box to get away from all the extra crying that followed. A lot of delivery ponies were weird like that. The burrito was decent, but not great. Scootaloo usually preferred hers fresh with a lot of extra red ink. But the mayor had announced plans for the town to go green a few months back, and the Ponyville Adoption Agency had used recycled paper and green pens ever since. Oh god, she ate the application. This is fantastic. Just saying. Oh my god. Okay. I lost my track. She really didn't get the whole vegan thing. But hey, free food was free food. She did pretty well for an orphan pony. But she couldn't actually afford to eat out at the dumpsters every night. Meals at Subwaste and Olive Garbage were really starting to put a crimp on her non-existent wallet. She was just about done with lunch when Applebloom and Sweetie Belle showed up, or more accurately, walked by without actually noticing her. "Hey guys!" she shouted, waving at them from her box. "Over here!" "Hey, is that Scootaloo?" Applebloom stopped first, then Sweetie Belle. Then they confirmed on whether or not they really wanted to be seen around a street orphan. Then they finally got around to being shocked. "Wait!" Their freakishly huge bug eyes bulged as they registered the sight. "Is that Scootaloo?" "That's my name, don't wear it out," she laughed. "No, seriously, don't let it wear it out. I can't afford a new one yet." "So you actually live in a cardboard box?" asked Sweetie Belle. "Your address, that one cardboard box, Sunshine Lane, wasn't just a weird joke." "Yeah, sorry, I need to update that." She pointed to her new living room, courtesy of Pipsqueak. "I just did some renovations, so now it's like 2 cardboard boxes. I'll get an application going with Town Hall. It's time for everyone to recognize that I'm taking my rightful place in the world." Alright," Applebloom interjected. "But why a cardboard box? You already live in a house. We were all with you there once." "I'm staring at you blankly right now because I don't remember that at all." "It was that one time when you were worried about not being able to fly," said Sweetie. "You live in a cardboard box right now. How can you not remember living in a real house?" "Geez, Sweetie Belle, it's kind of a rude thing to say about my cardboard box." Scootaloo had mostly learned to live with insensitive questions with her friends. They weren't bad people. Life had just given them a better roll on the dice. Applebloom was probably the richest orphan she knew, next to Silverspoon, considering that she had a brother, a sister, and an ambiguously large number of cousins. Sweetie Belle had even been seen with parents once. They just didn't get life on the streets, so it was Scootaloo's job to remind them not to trip whenever they crossed the line. I mean, it's not like I'm homeless or anything. They looked at each other. Sweetie Belle coughed. "Applebloom, should we say something, or—" "Nah." Applebloom shook her head sorrowfully. "Nah." A breeze blew through the alleyway. A balled-up newspaper, the modern orphan's tumbleweed, rolled by. A cat meowed. Nobody said anything, except for that stupid cat. It was one of those serendipitous moments where everyone just knows, in the deepest corners of their consciousness, no more needs to be said, and no more should ever be said. In other words, it was a really awkward silence. Scootaloo broke it first, though. Anyways, are you guys ready to work on our volunteer project? Heck yeah! Applebloom tossed her cap for the outward postal service. Come on, let's go get our deliveries. Okay, said Derpy, reading off the list. Scootaloo, you're up next. Ready for the job. Scootaloo sauntered, her cap on tight. The outward postal service was a respectable Ponyville institution, and she had never been prouder to wear a cap with the familiar letters "Oops" emblazoned on it. Oops was pretty much everything she'd ever wanted from a job. It gave her a uniform, reasonably flexible hours, and the misplaced trust of hundreds of ponies. The only station that could get a better deal than that was the office in politics, and she wasn't old enough to run just yet. You can trust me. Okay, said Derpy. I see no reason not to. She pulled a cartload of cardboard boxes off the truck and let the whole pile crash to the ground. Your job is going to be delivering these, and once you get rid of all those boxes, you can come back to me and I'll give you another shipment. Okay? Say no more, said Scootaloo, working on the tape for the biggest package. I've always wanted a kitchen. She grabbed another box and began working on that one too. Not to mention a bedroom and an attic and servants to tend to the hedges in my gardens. Sorry, Derpy laughed. Maybe I didn't say that right. You need to deliver the packages to the ponies they should go to. Okay. It seemed like kind of an unnecessary step for Scootaloo, but as long as she was getting a home remodeling out of it, she wasn't going to complain. She took her first box, a relatively tiny one that sounded like it had originally contained an intact teapot, and set off on her way. So I guess I'll come right back when I've gotten this taken care of. Okay, said Derpy. She gave Scootaloo a thumbs up, but with her hooves. You're a good kid, Scootaloo. I hope my daughter turns out to be half a great orphan as you someday. Hey, thanks. Scootaloo shot up a thumbs up back. Here's hoping. Also, thumbs up, yeah. Like,
thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Delivering packages to front doors reminded Scootaloo that she deserved a front door. Knock, knock. Knock, knock, Granny Smith answered. Who is there? Delivery. She cocked her head. Delivery who? Delivery for you. She pointed to her cap. The bright red oops could always be counted on to remind people of her. It's me, Scootaloo. Applebloom. No, said Scootaloo. Not Applebloom, Scootaloo. Scoota who? Scootaloo. Hootaloo? Scootaloo. Well, why didn't you just say so, Applebloom? Granny Smith shook her head. Gadzooks, where do you get all those bad habits? You've been hanging around that Scootaloo again? Scootaloo just smiled. If I answered that, I'd be out of job, ma'am. So if you just sign this clipboard here, I can deliver your package. Package? Said Granny Smith, totally baffled. I don't recall ordering any sort of package. Sure you did. Scootaloo held up a plastic bag full of porcelain shards. You ordered a teapot last week. Your name was on the box. Well, when you get to my age, Applebloom, you hardly remember anything. She took the clipboard and signed, but stopped just short of handing it back. She squinted at the plastic bag in suspicion. Or maybe she just squinted because she was older than the original concept of time. Scootaloo wasn't really sure at this point. You know, that doesn't really look like a teapot now that I look at it. It's a do-it-yourself kit, Scootaloo lied through her teeth. It's cheaper when you order it like that, remember? No, I don't, Granny Smith admitted. But sometimes I can barely remember the dinosaurs. She took the bag and shook it, which probably wasn't doing the fragile porcelain any favors. Where's the box? Box? Scootaloo coughed, shifting her head to the side of the box on her back. What box? Don't packages normally come in some sort of box? Not that I know of, Granny Smith. I'm sure packages come in some sort of cardboard box, like the rat's nest in. We're called orphans, ma'am. You can't say that these days. Now she felt no remorse for taking Granny Smith's box. She didn't before, but now she didn't even more. Scootaloo backed off slowly. Anyways, you signed. There's your package delivered. File all complaints with nobody ever. Enjoy the rest of your week. Then she jetted with the goods. Because, honestly, that was what Granny Smith was gonna... What was Granny Smith gonna do about it? Tell Apple Bloom's mom? Oh my fucking god. This is the best thing. The cardboard spires of Castle Scootaloo cast shadows over the once sunny Sunshine Lane. The ponies of Ponyville had once looked down at the orphans that roamed the streets, but now it was Scootaloo who could look down on the ponies of Ponyville. And from a position of approximate structural stability, she lounged on her cardboard balcony, sipping the leftover water from the school's water fountains, and reflected on how far she had come in life. She had climbed this lofty station with her own 4 hooves and 2 stubby wings, and theft. Lots and lots of petty theft. Scootaloo, a peasant she had once known as Sweetie Belle, shouted up at her. "Is this where all your boxes went?" "Begone, peasant!" Scootaloo shouted from her corrugated tower. "Beg me not for cardboard." "Okay, but a lot of ponies are really upset that you stole all the boxes from your deliveries, so if you don't return them now, you'll probably be in some big trouble." But Scootaloo's ears were already deaf to the cries of the plebeian masses. She retired to her dark throne room, which was dark mostly because she hadn't cut in windows yet and open flames wouldn't ever be a good idea. She was rich now, rich beyond measure unless someone had a calculator with them. Her ownership of the orphan real estate market was now unprecedented in Ponyville's relatively short history, and she could finally afford anything her heart desired. She could even eat nightly at the finest trash heaps in town, feasting on McDumpsters and Taco Bell. Sure, the peasants complained, but the peasants always complained. What were they going to do about it? Find a loving family to adopt her and then tell her new mom? This was life. She was living it. Scootaloo settled on her seat of power and looked over her domain. She couldn't actually see any of it without cutting a window or two, but she had a good imagination and filled in most of the gaps. As she brooded in solitude, she began to mutter the dark words that would mark her reign, the words that would be remembered for a couple nights at most unless she decided to write them down first. 3 boxes for the earth ponies under the sky, 7 for the dragons in their halls of stone, 9 for the parents doomed to die, and the rest for the Scootalord on her cardboard throne. She had nearly drifted off to sleep when the thunderous cracking of literal thunder roused her. Her glorious chandelier, made of the finest coat hangers and rarest toilet papers of the kingdom, fell to her cardboard floor. "No!" she shouted. The first drops were already leaking through the ceiling, an omen of water damage on an unprecedented scale. Her eyes went wide and her face went kind of pale orange. "No!" Scootaloo took the cardboard stairs slowly because they weren't actually that safe to run on, but she bolted the rest of the way out of the castle. The roof over her head was already collapsing as rain pattered down on it, a sign delivered from the heavens themselves to punish her for her hubris. Coincidentally, Sunshine Lane had also been in the middle of a pretty bad drought, and the weather team had only just gotten around to fixing it. Getting rain to that part of town had been originally Derpy's job before she had spontaneously left her post to start a package delivery service. Oops. She had just barely escaped her collapsing castle before it finished melting to a pile of wet cardboard. It was rainy outside, and kind of wet. There was lightning and thunder and stuff. She also didn't have a house anymore, so by extension, she was getting rained on, and lightninged on, and thundered on. Scootaloo, formerly the Scootalord, could only kneel before the ruins of her once glorious empire and reflect on all that was. It was gone. All of it was gone. The castle, the cardboard, the warmth of her mother's embrace, the all-she-could-eat dumpster food, the... "Oh, right," she said simply. "Being an orphan sucks." So, I laughed a lot during this, and it kept fucking up the way that I was talking. I shouldn't say effing up in an E-rated story narration, but oh my gosh, that was really good. It took all the Scootaloo tropes and just turned them on head.
That's good, because you know what? Scooter Orphan is like the most overplayed fucking thing, and I love it to death, but damn it, there's only so many times she can be an orphan and living in a box. I mean, she's still doing that here, but it's funnier.
It's true. It's so good. And there's so many jokes in there. There's references, but they're done right. This is the perfect example of a good comedy story, and I feel like when I talked with Obsolescence before, I wanted his opinion on my writing. I wanted his honest critique, and he says, read Pratchett, read Douglas Adams, and that permeates here in these stories. Douglas Adams and Terry Pratchett, they both love to take ridiculous situations and then add even more ridiculous yet authentic reactions to them. You see the showing, not telling. Like, for example, Scootaloo's castle is literally being rained on, and she still, like, goes down the stairs slowly because she doesn't trust how steady they are. Like, that's authentic. That's really true. If you've had those moments, and it feels almost Looney Tunesy at points, and at points it feels like it's something out of the Dot Mauve series by Hot Diggity Demon. There's so many good parts in here. There's so many different types of humor, and while it does keep hitting you over and over and over again, it hits you in different ways each time, so the humor never grows dull, and it never necessarily grows predictable. There's a lot of wit in this, just straight up. What do you think? How does this fit amongst your favorite Scootaloo stories? Because this is your first time reading this, right?
I would say it's more of a middle ground for me. I'm not when it comes to Scootaloo, I'd rather read the cheesy kind of sad fix where she's living in a box, and then it gets better. The comedy style ones sort of sit middle ground with me. The one thing I did notice, and I don't know if you caught it or not, but when they're calling out restaurant names and they're giving each one of them, oddly named things, and they're calling them trash dumpster places and everything. I like how he kept Taco Bell.
He did, and I noticed that. Like, it's already trash.
He doesn't need to give it a trash name. This place is already bad, so we don't need to make it worse.
Oh, God. This was great. This was fantastic. This easily earns a favor from me. I gave it an upvote already. Final thoughts. If this is your first time reading this, go favorite it. Go upvote it. Obselescence is great. This was a great story, and I feel bad to say this is the first thing by Obs I've ever read. Like, he's so good.
I think I've read like one or two other things from him. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Really, really worth it. Worth checking out. Obselescence is worth your time. Check it out. I think it's good. You think it's good. Everyone thinks it's good. Thank you for watching this edition of Writer's Workshop. This is a good example. We didn't have anything to critique on. See you next week.
Bye.
That's it. This was really good. I honestly didn't expect that to be that good.
Yeah, it was a good story.
Yeah, it was really fucking good.
Apparently, I've read a lot of his stuff.
Really?
Yes, I'm going through it. I'm like, I favorited that. Oh, I favorited this too, and that too, and this, and that. This is odd.
Oh my god.
Oh, I remember some of it. He writes some really good sad fics too.
Really?
Oh, goodness. Let me see. This one.
Which one?
I'm linking it right now. It's called In Memory Of.